If you've been sleeping under a rock, you might not know that bitty Bitcoin is ripping, and it ain't just ripping higher, it happens to be ripping the face off of all the people betting against it. Very recently, it cost the shorts $150 million, and as you're about to find out, it doesn't seem like it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Now, I want to start it off with this because it's hilarious. So one of the main speakers for CNBC and their finance show in the morning, Squawk Box, is Mr. Andrew Sorkin, who recently said, if it was a store of value, it would stay one price. That is financial media gold, no pun intended. Bitcoin tops 57,000 as rally picks up steam. The spot ETFs posted record volumes on Monday as Bitcoin gained 6% during US trading hours, and then it exploded in the overnight session. Now, just to be up to real time, we are just below 57,000 right now. And according to Coin Market Cap, Bitcoin now worth 1.1 trillion, which is still about a tenth of gold. So a lot of the times people are like, well, I get what's going on with gold, store of value, a way to kind of sidestep the devaluation, the debasement of the USD. So is that what Bitcoin could hit? And obviously I don't have a crystal ball, but as of now, if that is the target, if it's going to be anywhere even close, it's currently at a tenth of its value. So yeah, safe to say that there's a bit of room to run. Following sizable gains during the US day on Monday, Bitcoin pushed through several additional round number milestones during early Tuesday morning Asia hours, and the price topped 57,000 for the first time since November of 2021. And obviously the question is, can it keep going? And I'm going to explain that. I think the TLDR is yes. But before we get there, let's explain what's going on in real time and right now why there is so much bullishness. Bitcoin surpasses 56,000. Benchmark uplifts crypto market in latest rally. We have not seen these numbers since late 2021. The gains came on the back of MicroStrategy disclosing another large purchase of 3,000 Bitcoin for 155 million, which means MicroStrategy, the company, now has just below 200,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And you'll see a surge of funds into Bitcoin ETFs, the asset's upcoming halving event, as other bullish factors. So couple things to consider. Why is it moving? And I think I could explain it pretty well, pretty simply. Okay, so obviously at the start of the year, we finally had the SEC concede that, yeah, they should allow spot Bitcoin ETFs. With that regulation update, it gave a little bit more clarity, the rules of the road, if you will, for Wall Street. And now that they knew the rules of the road, it allowed big Wall Street money to come into the world of Bitcoin. Obviously, the supply of Bitcoin is finite, 21 million, right now about 19 million, 19.5 million are already mined. So there's not much more to go. So it's a supply demand issue. And obviously the crossover point, the equilibrium of the two is the price. So as supply is just kind of, we're adding some, but it's going to stop and really people are losing their crypto. It's not moving much is my main point. In fact, they already expect that a couple million Bitcoin have been lost through lost seed phrases, people passing away and not knowing their spouse's password and all that good stuff. But anyway, the theoretical max is 21 million, but in reality, we're never going to hit that because of various other issues. But now with the new regulations from SEC approving the spot Bitcoin ETF, obviously there's going to be more demand. So when there's more demand and the supply is saying roughly the same, well, price goes up. So that's one obvious thing. Then if you fast forward to what in the world is going on in April, this is coming up very soon, mid-April, we're going to be having what's referred to as a halving event. Halving is all those Bitcoin miners, the people who verify and secure the entire blockchain, the decentralized blockchain. Well, the reward that they get paid for solving that gets cut in half roughly every 4 years. And that's how, like, kind of you have the logarithmic growth of it's the supply control is the best way to honestly say that. But anyway, that's coming. And if you look at how this is historically played out, Bitcoin's halvings, history of Bitcoin price, well, halving 1, price popped. Halving 2, price popped. Halving 3, price popped. Halving 4 coming up in mid-April. So people are saying, hey, if history is any indication of how this is played out historically, we're thinking having 1, 2, and 3, the price popped. We're thinking price is going to pop again. Now, is that written into stone? Does it have to happen? No, it doesn't have to, but this is what people are betting on. And a lot of times when it comes to the market, it's self-fulfilling prophecy. If enough people believe something is going to happen in the market, it tends to happen because people are placing the bets in that direction, which therefore prompts it to happen. So January, we had SEC updates, regulatory approval. This coming April, we have the halving. And then if we push out a little bit longer, I think just monetary policy is going to get a bit looser, which should benefit Bitcoin. Right now, monetary policy is very strict. It's very tight. But when you're running, right now, we're running at 3.1 trillion in debt this year, annualized. The deficit is going to be 1.5 trillion. Get this. This is absurd. And you can fact check me on it. And I implore you to fact check me on it. Our interest payments on our debt this year alone will be $1 trillion. The US has 34 trillion in debt. We are expected to hit 50 trillion in debt by 2033, a decade away. Our debt to GDP ratio, it's over 120%. When the '08 crisis happened, our ratio was 60%. We've doubled it. And we were in a crisis back then. And all this comes back to the fact that over 100 years ago in 1913, they created the Federal Reserve, which basically is the money printer. And this has proven to be very problematic because our government, the Federal Reserve, they have the proclivity to act like drunken sailors when it comes to the money printer. They hit it and hit it and hit it and hit it and hit it. And what does that do? It gives them money to play around with it, but it devalues the dollar. In that 100-year time span, there has been a 96% depreciation in the US dollar. If you're just sitting on dollars, if you had $100, whatever, a decade ago, it is now worth less. So sitting on dollars doesn't make sense. That's why gold became popular. And then obviously all the craziness in 1971 with Nixon and all that stuff, the people needed a store of value. They needed a way to escape the clutches of the government and the continued devaluation. And right now, that's how a lot of people are seeing Bitcoin. They're like, okay, a good way to get out of the world of government, a good way to get out of the world of Federal Reserve. It is decentralized, it's uncensorable, it's anti-fragile, and will it be the big winner decades down the road? I have no idea, but looking in the rearview mirror, there is no asset on Wall Street that there's been more demand for than Bitcoin. And if you look at the appreciation over the past decade, nothing has beaten Bitcoin. The scoreboard's looking pretty good. Now, obviously, like I said, I don't have a crystal ball, but things are shaping up pretty well. And obviously the people who are the naysayers, the bears, the shorts, they're not looking the best. Bitcoin shorts lose 150 million as Bitcoin poised for tremendous upside. A market observer said that Bitcoin and crypto markets will enter an unprecedented phase of adoption as prices eventually reach lifetime peaks. Leverage bets against Bitcoin lost over $150 million in the single 24-hour period yesterday as prices ripped up 10% for the biggest daily gain since October, spurring calls for a firm new bull market. Now, obviously, we were talking about the regulations, and I just want to clarify from like a quantitative standpoint, look how much money is flowing in real time to Bitcoin. IBIT, this is BlackRock, 6.65 billion. FBTC, this is Fidelity, and then ARK. I mean, between these alone, you have $13 billion. And right here, assets under management as of yesterday, just below 40 billion. It is ripping, it is ripping, it is ripping. So when I say there's an obvious appetite for Bitcoin, it's right here. Every single metric shows it. Now, holistically, this is what I'm talking about when I say the Fed and the devaluation. It's just going to print. That's all they're going to do. Whenever there's issues, they're going to print more and more and more. But the fact that the US government and no government has control of Bitcoin, that's why it's so enticing to so many people. And we're seeing with the total supply right now, it's just going to go and we're going to see how it plays out. Like I said, I'm very confident in the future. And just to wrap part of this up, I want to let you know, I don't know. I think this is some solid, mature wisdom from a Bitcoin billionaire, Michael Saylor, and just some of his views on life. Give it a listen.
Focus your energy. Guard your time. Train your mind. Train your body. Think for yourself. Curate your friends. Curate your environment. Keep your promises. Stay cheerful and constructive. And upgrade the world.
Pretty wise words of wisdom from a Bitcoin billionaire, if you ask me.